Hi friends, welcome back to the Common Sense Grandma. My name is Michelle, and today we are doing a couple of projects, restocking the pantry with black beans, and this is chicken, and I will tell you how I did this. And then we have a couple of freezer meals that we will put together in a little bit once I get this all going in the canner. And I thought I would just go ahead and share with you what I'm doing, because I was surprised. I wasn't sure about the cost of canning the beans versus buying them at the store. And excuse me, the beans here, they're black beans from As Your Standard right here, and they are organic. This is a 5-pound bag. It cost $9.01. And so I did the math. I ended up using 8 cups of beans, because it's about you need about half a cup of dry beans to go in a pint. Now I have another canner that I put in the laundry room to finish cooling down. It's the electric canner. I have 2 quarts and 2 jars of the 1.5 pints. They're in between the quart and the pint, and quart and pint size. It's like a 3-cup jar. It's actually my favorite jar. But for these pints here of organic beans, you know what cost is the lids. The lids are 23 cents. I got them at 4 jars. Now, these were on sale. I bought these at Christmas time. They had a great sale. And I know it's not usually a good time to buy things at Christmas, but you know, that's not a Christmas gift. But I did go ahead and buy them because it was such a good deal. And so the lids here are 23 cents. And then for the pint, the beans are 37 cents. So it comes to 60 cents per pint. Now, I'm not including the cost of the jar because I already have the jars. You probably have jars, and we just use them over and over again. So with the beans, all I did was last night I soaked them, and then this morning I rinsed them, put clean water in, put them on the stove, let them cook for 30 minutes. And then I drained them, because you never used your soaking liquid or the liquid from the first run of, you know, cooking them on the stove. You don't put that in your jar. You want clean water. And so I use clean filtered water for that. And I put 1/4 teaspoon of salt into each one. Now this here is chicken that it's boneless, skinless chicken thigh meat. And what I did with this was I just chopped them up in chunks, and I sauteed them in the cast iron. No seasoning, no oil, nothing. I didn't put anything on it. And it's really just a texture thing. I have found that if you pre-cook the chicken in the cast iron just for a little bit, or whatever, you know, pan you want to use, the chicken comes out so much better. It just has a better texture. So after filling them with water, and I did use some chicken bouillon. Normally I would want to use chicken broth, but I don't have enough. So you just debubble it. Oops, I don't want to touch it because my hands are clean. You just debubble after you put your water, which I've already done. And I like to use a chopstick. Yes, I have a debubbler that came with all my canning supplies, but I prefer the chopstick. So I'm gonna put that in the dishwasher. I'll run the dishwasher while the canner is going. Now, to wipe the rims, the jars that have fat in it, I always use some vinegar. And so you just wet your towel, go around the edge, because if there's any fat on there, it may not seal, and you're gonna have to use that up. Now what I do with this chicken, we can do a chicken salad sandwich. There's so many things, whatever, a soup, chicken pot pie, my older granddaughter's most favorite thing ever. There's just so many things you can do with this chicken. If you have chicken on your shelf, it's just another way to get dinner on quickly. And you don't have to cook the chicken ahead of time because it's already cooked. So especially in the summer, that does save you time. So that is good. Now let me go ahead and put the lids on here. I like using the wide mouth jars for meat. I really only can chicken most of the time. I just prefer the wide mouth jars because they're easier to wash. I just didn't have enough. I have so many of these, of the pints, and I didn't want to open any more. I think I have some in the back of the house, but that's okay. I did rinse all of my lids first in some really hot water, and these I ran in the dishwasher. And whenever I have a canning day like this, I run all the jars through the dishwasher again, which I did do this morning. So I know that everything is really clean. I just prefer that to do safe canning practice. Now, whenever you're canning pints, it's not 75 minutes, sorry. Quarts are 90 minutes. Pints, 75 minutes. Okay, here we go with the black beans. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this because it's right here. And you leave about an inch of headspace because they are going to boil. And the science of it is because it's going to boil and it has to get so many degrees, I forget what it is, in the very middle. I want to say 200 something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It has to get to a certain degree and then it pushes all the air out. And that's why they stay fresh. And you know, I've never had a problem with my canning. I've never had anything go bad. I always use everything up the way I'm supposed to. I have done rebel canning before where I didn't pre-soak the beans and I just put them in there, but they actually don't come out as good. And I prefer to do the safe method canning, which is what we're doing today. Better to be safe than sorry. These are all the regular size. I see a couple beans there that split. Let's just take that out. I think it's okay. So I'm going to stack this. Now this is a Presto canner, 21 quart. I do have an All-American that is, I don't know if it's a 15 or 16 quart. Oh, got an extra one. But with this canner here, honestly, it's easier to use than the All-American. And I can double stack. In the All-American, it's not big enough. And with my stove being a glass stove, that All-American canner is so heavy. I do appreciate it. It's nice, but it is really, really heavy. So we're using the Presto today. And I think I may just give that other canner to my daughter anyway. She has a big garden. I know she will be canning. She has a water bath canner, which of course I do a lot of. And actually my favorite canner, friends, is the electric one. I'll show it to you later when I go to open it. But what I'm going to do here is just stack everything. And honestly, I don't know if I've done this before of stacking, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Oh, I forgot to put the water. Give me a second. I'll come back. I have the water in here now, and I have one row of the chicken and beans. And I also wanted to mention that I am canning at room temperature right now. Everything is room temperature. So the water does not need to be hot. If it's a hot pack, if everything was still hot, then this needs to be hot. That way you don't break your jars. But I'm doing, you know, just room temperature right now. And I need to put a rack. We just add a rack. Because what you're actually doing here is it's steaming. And I figured I may as well just do a big batch since I'm using electricity, right? There we go. Let me bring you over So you can see there, that's what it looks like. And you can see my really dirty stove. How's that? All right, cool. We've had the craziest couple weeks, and I don't know, sometimes life is interesting. It's just been, we have terrible next door neighbors, and the one guy that lives there, the son, he's fine. He's very nice, respectful to us, but he had let somebody start staying there, and now they're squatting and they won't leave, and they're on drugs. They're out dancing in the street at night, and that is not the neighborhood that we live in. We live in a very quiet university town. We have a lot of people who are over 100 years old living here. We're in a blue zone, and then we've got them. We have a lot of young families here now in our neighborhood, which we love. And it's funny because they don't know this, but all of us other neighbors are texting each other. I had my neighbor this morning. She texted me at 6:15. So-and-so's doing this, so in that house, but they should be leaving soon because they're losing the house. It's in foreclosure, and I do not feel bad for them. Sometimes people gotta go. Anyway, I might cut that out. We'll see. Let's see if I can get this lid back on. I am so proud of myself. I got the lid on. Okay, I'm gonna turn it on high. It's gonna take a while for it to come to temperature, and then I will put, this is a weight. The other canner, the All-American, it's a dial gauge. It has different weights on here. This one, oh, I need to wash it. It's been sitting here, it's very dusty. So I will see you in a few minutes. While this is coming to temperature, we are going to make the freezer meal. And then at the very end, I'll bring you back so you can see all the stuff that we did today. See you soon. Now that we have the canner going, it's coming to temperature. I turned it down a little bit so it will not be noisy while we're talking here. And what I'm going to make now is this Chicken Cacciatore, and I'm doing one recipe into 2 bags, so it's just for my husband and I. And I have to say, this recipe is delicious. I made it a few months ago with you guys, and it was so good. And I've been wanting to make it again, and I happen to have everything on hand. So what we do, it says 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts or thighs. I prefer using the thighs. I just think they taste better. And now I have to divide this up. I'm actually going to get a plastic bag. I have a lot of gloves in this house, but none here in the kitchen. I don't like touching the chicken. This is what I did earlier with the other chicken. So let me just count. 1, 2, and I'm just eyeballing it with the chicken. 3, 4. Is that one? That's a big one. Okay. The rest can go in the other one. Okay, 4 pieces in each. That's fine. My husband and I can each have 2 pieces. And that will all go in the dishwasher. Now, for this chicken, okay, we put in the chicken. Now, again, I'm dividing this. It calls for 2 cans of, this is a Rotel type stuff. I don't have 2 cans. I only have 1. So I'm using a can of petite diced tomatoes. It will be fine. This recipe, I could not believe how flavorful it was. Okay, cool. There. All right, we've got chicken, tomatoes. It says 1 can of tomato paste, which is 6 ounces. All I have, this is 1.6 from This is from Trader Joe's. I actually prefer it like this because you don't always use a whole can. I think that's fine. I'm not gonna stress out over that. If I get this back on. Okay, I'll do that later. All right, now we have mushrooms. I only have freeze-dried, and I think that's fine. It calls for a cup for one recipe. So we will do about half a cup. I can't even believe I'm measuring this. Whoa, that's a lot. That's okay. We all like mushrooms, that's fine. Okay, mushrooms. Now 1 onion sliced, and then a bell pepper. So this morning I went ahead and cut this up. This bell pepper is from my garden. I made my husband an eggplant omelet this morning, and I will insert that picture here. It was so good. I forget the Filipino name of it, but it turned out really good. Okay. This is just so simple. And then what do we have? Bell pepper. Okay, chicken stock, 1 cup. So I didn't want to open up a jar. So this is just chicken bouillon. When I cooked this before, I think I cooked it in the slow cooker, and it was really good. All right, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. And so that would be 1/8 cup. So we'll do 2 tablespoons. I don't know why it calls for olive oil, but I'm just going by the recipe. It was really good. All right, there's your olive oil. And then salt, pepper, garlic powder. Now it calls for basil and oregano, and I don't feel like opening up my other oregano. I do have a new one, but I'm just going to use Italian seasoning. I'm going to do a teaspoon each. Actually, this is half a teaspoon. I'll do a whole teaspoon. It's not wanting to fill up. I'm going to add a little extra. That's okay. And salt and pepper. Just going to put a little bit in each one. I just like to have these freezer meals ready to go. I still have, I think, 4 freezer meals outside. And it's just such a lifesaver to have these ready to go. Oh, wine. It calls for wine. I did open, this is a bottle of Zinfandel. I just opened it. How much? 1/4 cup. And when it cooked last time, I could taste it. So I'll just do 1/8 in each one. There's 1. And there, oops, spilled it. Shoot. Making a mess. That is it, friends. That's all you have to do. And when you cook this, you are going to have the most delicious dinner. I forgot garlic. Cannot forget garlic right here. I'm looking at it. I always like to lay everything out. Oh, a tablespoon of garlic powder. Okay. Well, shoot. Okay. We'll get 1 tablespoon and divide it in half. That's a lot. I was actually going to cut up fresh garlic, but it's getting later in the day, and we'll just go with garlic powder. Maybe that day when I make this. Okay, there we go. I was gonna try to make it in a quart jar, but I wasn't sure if it would fit. Now, with the canning coming up to temp, let me turn it up so it'll go faster. So it's 75 minutes. Once it has come up to temperature or starts venting, it will vent for 10 minutes, and then you put the weight on, and then it comes up to temperature. And there is an app you can download to your phone. I'll link that below, that if it walks you through the steps of canning in case you're new. And it's, you know, I'm not going to use it today because this is just, it's a simple 75-minute, no problem. But if you're new to canning, that app is great. And the National Center for Home Preservation, I looked at it yesterday to make sure everything I was doing there was correct. It's funny, the ball canning book I have, it doesn't have really good directions for doing the beans. You would think it would, but it doesn't. And I already knew it in my head, but I just never want to make a mistake, and I don't want to tell you a mistake, you know. I don't, whatever you do, that's on you. But I just want to make sure I'm sharing with you the proper techniques. So once the canning project is all done, I will bring you back and you can see all the jars that we did today. See you soon. Bye. It's the next day, and here is all of the canning that we did together yesterday. I have 6 jars of chicken and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 jars of beans in different sizes. This one, for whatever reason, it did not seal. I don't know why, but it's okay. I put it in the refrigerator last night. It just takes a while for the canner to come down to, you know, not being pressurized, and then it still has to cool down enough for me to take the lid off. And I always go very slowly with that. I don't want, you know, a lot of heat. I want the jars to seal when they're supposed to seal and give them time to do that. So I'm very happy about that. I also put the 2 freezer meals that we did, I stuck them in the freezer, and then about an hour later I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make one of those for dinner. So I'll insert that picture right there. It was delicious. It was so good. It needed a little more salt, but other than that, it was spot on, perfect. How I used to make chicken cacciatore 30-something years ago. For whatever reason, I had forgotten about making it, and I really appreciate this freezer meal recipe. It's excellent. Now, I wanted to mention I make notes. I wanted to mention I talked about the price, that per pint, it's about 60 cents. And I looked on Walmart. Goya is $2.08, Great Value 86. Goya, that's organic. Organic Great Value is $1.16. So I feel like it's a good win-win canning my own beans, but also I can put the flavorings in that I want. This time I only put salt. Sometimes I've put taco seasoning, I put cumin and onion powder, garlic powder, a little chili powder, salt and pepper, you know, different ways of seasoning. I actually really like it with the taco seasoning because there's a little bit of oregano in there. It's really, really good. So to me, it's worth it. This will last us quite a while, but now we can use these beans for salads, whatever we want to do with them, frijoles, things like that. So I'm glad I was able to get this done. It had been a while since I had used my big canner, and that was fun. It was just getting the lid off and on was took me a little bit, even this morning, and then I go, oh, there are directions right on there which way it's supposed to face, so now I know. And I apologized yesterday for maybe whining a little bit about my neighbors. Funny thing, the elderly person, she's probably way younger than me, just has had a very hard life. She's a little hunched over, and I can tell she's, you know, been through a lot. She moved out last night about 11 o'clock. my husband and I heard some noise, and we went and looked out the window and watched her move. So she actually was a very sweet lady. I think it's her daughter and the daughter's boyfriend who are the real culprits. And I don't remember what I said yesterday, but they were trying to take a catalytic converter off of a car that was in our driveway, one of our family members. And I think that's why I was so mad. I couldn't get my camera to work. Our neighbor across the street does have cameras, so we know. We told the police, but they haven't even been around. The police came back yesterday, or sheriffs, I should say. We love our sheriffs, absolutely. Now, I hope all of you have a great week. Thank you for spending time with me. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video with something. We're gonna do something fun. Bye, friends.